Good morning, everybody. It's a very exciting day for Restore Britain. We've just produced our first piece of in-depth, detailed research on a topic which is closest to the heart of our membership, who voted for this to be the subject of our first piece of research. It's entitled Mass Deportations, Legitimacy, Legality, and Logistics. So it's been done by my team. I'm incredibly proud of all of them. It's been a huge piece of work. It's not a soundbite. It's not a one-sider. This is a serious read, and I would urge everybody who is concerned about this issue to wade through it, and I think you'll find it quite enlightening. It looks at the constitutional and legal reasons why we have a problem, and it then goes on to talk in detail about what needs to be done to solve the problem legally, and also then logistically deal with what has become a massive problem. It will save the country, in our view, conservatively £15 billion a year. That's very conservative, and therefore obviate the need for more statism, more tax increases, more government, more incompetence, and a general malaise which is currently besetting Britain. It requires political will, and it requires the right people in charge in order to deliver this. But I think you'll all find it very enlightening, and I would urge everybody, put a cold towel on your head and have a serious read. Enjoy.
Former Brexit Party MEP and Restore Britain leader Rupert Lowe has released a new video vowing to implement what he calls the most comprehensive deportation policy ever produced in Britain. In the short clip, which quickly circulated across social media, Lowe delivers a blunt message that encapsulates the populist thrust of his campaign. Never let anyone tell you that it can't be done. We've proven that every single illegal migrant can and must be deported. Send them home. The statement, equal parts slogan and political declaration, marks Lowe's most forceful intervention yet on immigration, a subject that has become central to Restore Britain's platform. According to Lowe, his plan aims to restore control over Britain's borders and challenge what he describes as decades of establishment failure. The proposed policy, which Restore Britain claims is grounded in both domestic law and new bilateral agreements, would dramatically expand detention and deportation powers, ensuring that, in his words, no one who enters illegally ever remains. Lowe has framed the plan as both a moral and patriotic duty, casting it as a necessary act of national renewal. His rhetoric mirrors that of right-wing populist movements across Europe, where calls for mass deportations and stricter border enforcement have gained traction amid rising migration pressures. For Lowe, however, controversy is part of the strategy. By presenting deportation as a matter of political will, he positions Restore Britain as the only movement prepared to take decisive action where mainstream parties have hesitated. His message is calibrated for a growing segment of the electorate frustrated with small boat crossings and the perceived failure of both Conservative and Labour governments to control immigration. In this sense, the Send Them Home video functions less as policy detail and more as political theater, an assertion of strength, sovereignty, and defiance. The release comes at a time when the UK government continues to struggle with its own deportation efforts, including the stalled Rwanda asylum scheme, which has faced repeated legal challenges. Lowe's video implicitly attacks that record, suggesting that only a clean break from current policies can restore public confidence.
Well, it certainly has a more tangible feel about it, certainly in the early stages. That's not to underplay just how difficult this is going to be, a 20-point plan. And we're at almost the easiest part of it, which is just to get that agreement to release the remaining hostages. Having said that, of course, from Hamas's point of view, that's their last remaining bargaining chip. But they've clearly been given assurances from the American side that the rest of the negotiating process will be honoured that they will, in a more sort of meaningful way, move towards the steps that many people want to see in that part of the world. And of course, you've got these Arab and Muslim countries that have gone fully behind this deal as well, which clearly is important because they will, apparently we're told, play a part in what will replace Hamas in terms of an interim administration to begin with, and then something more longer term. The way it's going to play out is that today, within the hour, there will be a meeting of the Israeli cabinet. They're expected to formally ratify this deal, and then you've got 72 hours for Hamas to release the remaining hostages, 48 of them from the 250 plus who were captured on October the 7th.
How many are alive, do we think?
Just 20. Only 20 are alive, 28 dead. And although we expect that the Hamas will be able to release the 20 who are alive, it might be more problematic to release the bodies or get the bodies of those who are dead back to their loved ones, simply because in some circumstances they are buried under tons of rubble in tunnel systems and the like. So that might be more problematic, but that's the course they will embark on. Israel will withdraw to a pre-agreed line, allowing for obviously a cessation of any of the fighting. 400 trucks, aid trucks a day will come into Gaza over 5 days, and then it's hoped that will be scaled up. So things are moving in the right direction, but then of course you get on to the other phases of it, about how do you de-arm Hamas?
Yeah.
What would the interim administration be like? What part, if any, is there for Hamas in a civilian capacity? Would Israel, countenance that? And I'm not sure they would.
Well, I was just going to say, so what's changed for Israel? Because Israel was always making the point, Hamas will, if there was a ceasefire, would just take time to rearm, re-equip, and then start their war of terror again. Because Hamas is not going to change its commitment to eradicate Israel from the world map.
One word, I think, Trump is what's changed for Israel.
Right.
I think he's reached a point now where he's put real pressure on Netanyahu now to get behind this deal. I mean, he said as much in interviews that he's done. He said, look, to Benjamin Netanyahu, you cannot now fight the whole world. And that's the situation we're at. Apart from America, so much of the world is absolutely opposed to what Israel is doing in Gaza at the moment. We've seen it here with what Sir Keir Starmer has done and other European nations have done in recognising a Palestinian state. So Israel always knew it, had a finite time to try to get as much achieved in this operation as possible. They've actually got 2 years out of it. And I think that certainly Trump has said, look, we're at the stage now, we've got to get a deal, we've got to get something in place. Whether, as I say, all of these 20 points can be achieved is, the great unknown. But it's certainly looking hopeful at this point. More hopeful.